Back to my channel. This is Mr. Bitcoin speaking. If you are new, please subscribe, and if you want to join our groups, you can check in the description. Alright, so today I'm going to show you how our special strategy works. Our special strategy incorporates smart money concept, BTMM, ICT, and price action. So I'm going to show you how all these entries are generated, the buy entries and the sell entries, not leaving out the buy zones and the sell zones. Alright, so our strategy has a lot of features. We have entries, we have buy entries, we have sell entries, then we also have the pattern. This is the yellow line. It shows you the pattern. So in other words, the pattern will have a node at the end. So here we have a node. So whenever it reaches a node, it's a sign that there's going to be a retracement. Then when it reaches this another node, it's a sign again that there's going to be a retracement. Our strategy also comes with these lines. These lines are there to show you that there's going to be a resistance. So whenever the market reaches a certain line, you should know that the market can resist that level. Alright, so when you want to use this strategy, the first thing you do is you open your H4. When you have opened your H4, then you check at the latest entry. For instance, I'm on Boom 300 and our latest entry is a sell entry. So in other words, Boom 300 is going to sell for a while according to H4. Usually, if you don't want to miss a trade, try by all means to use top to down analysis. What do I mean by top to down analysis? I'm now saying you analyze bigger time frames to lower time frames. You can even start on D1 if you want to analyze the market. So you start from your H4 to M5. So you open H4, H1, M30, M15 and M5. All those time frames should confirm the same entry for you to be able to enter that trade without any risk. For instance, here we have a sell entry on Boom 300. If I open on H1, I should see the same so that I can execute that trade. But let's see. Alright, on H1, can we all see the same entry? There's also a sell entry. And if you check clearly, here we have a buy zone. And according to our node is going to sell until it reaches this node. The market is going to drop until it reaches this node. But the reason why I always avoid trading ticks is because ticks can damage you emotionally. Why do I say so? You can be in a profit of around $100, but you can lose it in less than a minute. That's why I always tell people to practice to catch spikes. Plus, catching spikes is easier because even if you enter a trade earlier, if you apply proper risk management, you'll be able to hold that trade. You'll be able to hold that trade. So what we do now is we look for buy opportunities only. If it's boom, we look for buy opportunities. If it's a crash, we look for sell opportunities. Then I'm going to show you how to trade step index. Step index can give you a lot of money if you trade it well. I think that is the only thing that can flip an account that is below $100. But if you want to be very good at booming crash, you just fund maybe 100 or above. Then you enjoy all the profits. So I'm going to check step index. Alright, so this is our strategy. What I want to show you now is I want to show you how this sell zone was generated. If you check clearly, these zones, they are generated according to price action, smart money concept, ICT, BTMM. And right now it has reached a certain node. That's why it's now giving us a buy entry. But we should first check the H4 to see if there is a buy entry. If there is no buy entry on H4, we cannot buy. We cannot buy step index because it will be selling in the long run. For instance, here, our latest signals are sell entries. So we wait until it gives us the buy signals. So here I'm going to open M5. I'm going to analyze this thing without this strategy so that you see how the entries are generated. So let me open another chart, another clear chart. Alright, This is a clear chart. As you can see, there is nothing on it. Let me just. So on step index, what you do is you draw your channel like this. I've drawn my channel like this. I've managed to join all the possible points. Here I have a point, here I have a point, here I have a point. So for you to enter after such a breakout, what you do is you draw your horizontal line. Just find a point where it touched the bottom trend line. For instance, here. So I'm going to draw my horizontal line here. So once it crosses this horizontal line, this is when you enter. And if you use this technique, you are most likely to just get into profit without any retracement. So another thing you should note, the market does not turn without forming a certain pattern. So if you want to analyze volatilities, just know that the market has to make a certain pattern for it to change direction. Right now it's selling. So for you to determine that it's going to change direction, it is supposed to form some sort of a pattern so that you confirm that entry. So for now, if you check here, this is where I always tell people to take profit when it reaches this order block. Usually when it reaches this order block, you take your profit. Then you wait for it to form another pattern. It will form another pattern whereby you be sure, is it going to continue selling or is it going to start buying? So this is how you analyze it. If you check clearly, you can see that our sell entries were given around this area by the strategy, and the TP is around this area. So let me check on the strategy so that you see what I was saying. Our strategy just does this automatically. That's why it's easy to use. So I open M5. Let me use the strategy now. Let's check on the strategy. Alright. This is according to our strategy. If you check clearly, it reached the sell zone here and it went downwards. There's another thing you should also note. Let's say it has reached the sell zone here, right? Then starts to sell. If it pulls back to that sell zone again, there's a high chance that the market will sell. It will respect that sell zone. So if you want to scalp, you can just trade for some minutes and make money. So if it reaches this sell zone, you can enter, then you make money. Same scenario here. It reached the sell zone, then it started to sell. Right now it has reached the node, which is our TP. So our nodes work as our TP. So you need to be in a place whereby you can hold trades. That's why I was saying, try by all means to fund at least $100 or more, so that you can hold your trade and trade without any emotions. For you to be a successful trader, you need to have patience and confidence. Just trust your analysis. There is no way whereby if you enter a trade, then it will just go your way. It will first play with your mind. So you need to apply proper risk management. When you have done that, there's a high chance that you're going to enjoy more profits. So here, as you can see, it has arrived at the node. That's why it's now acting like it's about to go up. But this does not mean enter a buy signal. We wait for the H1 candle first. If the H1 candle turns green, then we are now sure that the market is now going up. Then we go back to our M5, then see something like this. We need to see a channel like this, so that we'll be sure that the market is now going downwards. And for indices like step index, it's easier to sell. According to me, that is what I have noticed. It's easier to sell. If you enter a sell entry, you're most likely to enjoy. So just try by all means to perfect your analysis, and try by all means to look for patterns. You should know more about patterns. You should be a person that knows when something like this has been projected, what does it tell us? Here is a previous, it's a pullback, right? So in other words, a buy is loading. But for us to know that it's now buying overall, it has to cross this point, so that we'll be sure that it has broken the structure. Then we'll be able to enter our buy signal. But But if we draw our trend line here, let me draw it so that you see. I'm just trying to show you some areas where we can find resistance. Right now, I've drawn this trend line. Alright, so this trend line is just a trend line that will show you that here there's a resistance and there's a possibility to buy until it reaches this trend line. So if you want to check whether it's possible for you to enter that trade, you go back to your H1. I usually trade basing on the H1. So here on the H1, what is the current candle say? As you can see, it's now projecting some sort of a pin bar. It's now projecting some sort of a pin bar, a bullish pin bar. So we wait for the entry to be given on this time frame. On the H1 time frame, this is when we enter. So once the H1 says buy, we now go back to M5. Then we analyze M5 using our trend lines and channels. Then we wait for a signal. Once it gives us a signal there, then we can enter. Another thing, master the concept of smart money concept and ICT. Those concepts will never go wrong. If you use those concepts, you can also trade even forex. It's easier to trade forex when you know those concepts. Alright, so now I'm now going to show you booming crash. Let me look for a chart whereby we can find entries. Alright, so this is a crash 1000. Let's analyze crash 1000 together. Alright, so the first thing I do is I open my H1, H4 I mean. What is H4 telling me? H4 candle is green. So we wait for that candle to change. If the candle is green, then I can check around H1 to see if it's green again. On H1, our candle is red. So H4 and H1 is contradicting, but we might have a chance. So if our H1 is red, we can see if we can enter the trade, but always try to enter when the H4 is red. Because if you trade a pattern like this, whereby the H4 will be blue or your H4 will be green, but your H1 will be red. I'm trying to say whereby a scenario whereby H4 and H1 are not saying the same thing. You can leave that trade. You look for the trade whereby you can, whereby all H4 candles and H1 candles are giving you the same signal. So here I'm now looking for another entry. Let me check on crash 500. On crash 500, the H1 candle is green again. So there is no possibility to look for a sell entry. Then we can check on Boom 300. Boom 300 is the easiest. If you are a learner and you want to catch spikes. For instance, here on Boom 300, our candle is green, which shows us that the market is buying. So we are now looking for a entry. So we now move to M5 so that we can plot our entry here. So according to M5, this is our M5. It reached this node, that's why it's now buying. But the reason why we cannot buy now is because if you check the last spike did not manage to engulf this spike. What do I mean? I am saying this spike did not manage to cross the previous high. This is our previous. Here we are going to draw our horizontal line. Object horizontal line. So I'm going to draw my horizontal line basing on the last spike. This is our previous spike. We can see that we have many order blocks. We have this order block, this order block, this order block, this order block, this order block. So you wait for it to pull back until it reaches the previous point where the spike occurred. So you can also draw a trend line so that you can see. This is just to confirm, guys. Here you use trial and error because the previous spike did not manage to cross this spike, so you are not sure that our spikes are still going upwards or it's going to pull back first then you spike late. So this is how you generate your entry. So this will be your entry point. It is going to reach this point. Once it touches that trend line, then you can enter your buy signal. Always start by putting a small lot size, then you add lot sizes as time goes on. For example, once it spikes, then pulls back a bit, you can now add positions. In that way, the chances of you to close trade in loss will be minimized. So I think you have seen how to analyze boom 300. So we can move to crash 300. Let's check on crash 500. On crash 500, let me look for another chart because crash 500 is buying. But you just use the same concept for analyzing crash 500 and crash 300. As you can see, what I told you before, here it touched the sell zone, went back to the sell zone. What happened? It sold. Went back to the sell zone. What happened? It sold. Went back to the sell zone. What happened? It sold. So this is how you just do it, guys. It's very simple. All you need is you just have to be patient. Then you wait for the entries, because many people end up losing money because he or she can say, today I did not enter any trade, so I'm not forced to enter this since I missed all trades. Don't be that type of a person. Even if you make $10 a day, it's fine. Don't be too greedy and don't overtrade. Avoid overtrading by all means. Try by all means to wait for your entries, then you execute your trades well, because we are trying to avoid scenarios whereby you start blaming yourself that you were supposed to wait here. Try by all means to make your stop loss change to your entry point, because many people, all of their entries always hit stop loss. So try by all means to make your stop loss your entry point. So this is how you analyze the market with the strategy. Our strategy will do everything for you. As you can see, it's still generating entries for us so that we know how the market is going to move. So I hope you have learned something, and if you need to ask another question, you can contact me. I told you all of my details are in the description, so you can just join the group. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and like our videos so that we can give you more information about how to trade and you become a successful trader. So this is how you analyze the market. Thank you.